Today I review the most anticipated movie of 2021, Dune, where Paul Atreides and his family must travel to the most dangerous planet in the universe to acquire the most precious resource in existence, but malevolent forces lie in wait to destroy them all.
Yes, I want this.
Let me start this off by saying that I've never read any of the Dune books. I haven't seen the original Dune movie. This is my first interaction with the world of Dune, so I'm looking at this with fresh eyes. And one thing these eyes saw were some of the most gorgeous looking scenes that I've seen in a movie this year. The director Denis Villeneuve knows how to work that camera. I could have paused this movie at any random point and used that shot as a piece of art on my wall, because it was just gorgeous. And this world that was created was really cool. It reminded me of Game of Thrones, but in space, with feuding family houses and betrayals and whatnot. Because you have the main family, House Atreides, or the House of Swag, as I like to call them, and they have this blood feud with this evil family called House Harkonnen. And those are really the only two families you're introduced to, but it was still a cool concept. And the planet that they're on, Arrakis, is this massive desert planet that looks really beautiful. And on Arrakis, there's these giant sandworms that are lured by any noise that has a rhythmic vibration in the sand. So if people want to travel across the desert, they have to walk in a certain way to break that rhythm. And it's little details like that that this movie brings up that makes this universe feel more real to me. I appreciate when a sci-fi or a fantasy film takes a minute or two to explain what I'm looking at, because I'm curious how this world works, and a lot of movies don't take the time to do that, but Dune does. Dune also had some fun action sequences, mainly in the middle of the film, where everything started popping off. And what made those action scenes really cool is that the characters had this energy shield technology that surrounds their body, so when a weapon hits them, it just bounces off the shield. But there were times where the shield would fail and the weapon would get through. And there's this really cool scene where a missile is dropping down on a spaceship, but the shield catches it. And the missile just starts burrowing into the shield, and then it hits the ship, and then it blows up. But the explosion is stuck inside the shield, so it's kind of bubbling up, and then it just leaks outward. It was crazy to see on the big screen. I also have to say that the costume design was on point, because there's different species of aliens in this movie. They all look human, but they're given slight differences that make them stand out. You have the Fremen, who have really bright blue eyes and they wear moisturizer suits because they live in the desert. And then you have the Harkonnen, who have pure white skin and they're bald. It's little stuff like that, and it's not a lot, but it's enough to clearly tell them apart, and it looked good. But it was the people of House Atreides that impressed me the most. They came to this movie with the most swag, hence the nickname House of Swag. They had the suits, they had the coats, they had this stylish battle armor. They came looking fresh. Macy's or one of those big clothing companies need to sell these outfits quickly, because I'm trying to stock up. My biggest issue with this movie is that I didn't care about the characters. They felt too alien to me, which I know is a weird thing to say because there's aliens in this, but I couldn't connect with them. Especially with the main character, Paul. He didn't have any qualities that said, I'm a hero and a leader. He had power and skill, but as a person, he was wooden. He had two emotions, neutral or angry. Any other emotion that he expressed felt fake to me. Paul also doesn't go through much character development. I get this is the first movie of many, so I wasn't expecting a complete change, but all that really changes about him in this movie is that he goes from, I don't want to be a leader, to, I'm a leader. I'm okay, dude. I don't know if it was the acting, the directing, or maybe that's just how the character is in the book. Whatever it is, I didn't like it. Paul is not a character that I would want to go to war with. And I feel a similar way about most of the other characters in this. Not to the same degree as Paul, but just anytime something bad or even good happened to him, I felt very little about it. I did care more about Jason Momoa's character Duncan, because he had personality, but he's not in a lot of this movie, so I couldn't enjoy him as much. And what's the deal with Zendaya? I thought she was going to be a bigger part in this movie, but all she really does is just stares lovingly into the camera. And that's it. This beautiful world with fantastical creatures and technology felt wasted on such blah characters. And because I'm focusing on these blah characters, it's taking away from the enjoyment of this awesome world. It's like going to Disneyland, but you have to stay with someone who hates theme parks. It's just such a killjoy.
What is the verdict?
In terms of meeting high expectations, I think Dune does a much better job of reaching for those expectations than most movies this year. I'm looking at you, Green Knight. This is a beautiful looking movie with a story that has me invested enough to want to see a sequel. But I've been hearing this movie described as a masterpiece or the next great cinema franchise since Lord of the Rings, and I'm sitting here like, it was okay. I wasn't blown away by it like people were telling me it would. I would describe it more as the next great time killer franchise. Dune is not what I wanted, but I'll take it. Like sugar-free soda. Thanks for watching! Click right here to watch more reviews. And to see new reviews, click right here to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything.